buttons work, it's in manual. Because when it's in automatic, these buttons don't work. There's no bypassing with the buttons. So when you're in operation, you always want it to say auto. The other thing, he called me yesterday and said the doors weren't working at all. If this screen is blank, there's probably a 90% chance that's pushed in, which is just an e-stop for the door. All it is pull it out, it'll give it power again, and the door should be working properly. The buttons don't work. But if it's in manual, the buttons work. Actually, they all have this manual chain here. So if you ever lose power and someone's stuck in there, if you pull the chain down, it disengages the gearbox up there. I know you have it, you guys have it, but some of the sites have chains that you manually have to pull to open it. Some of, like this one does not have it. So you, as long as this is pulled out, there's a little holder over here that'll hold it, disengage, then you can lift the door by hand. But yeah, not all the doors have the chain to come up, the fall chain or whatever it's called. Here, but generally it's by the entrance and exit doors, you'll find two buttons that will disable the wash. I believe I have it set up at almost all your washes that if you hit the e-stop, even though you pull it out, the wash will not start up again until you come over here and clear out the emergency stop fault, which is just hitting the reset. It's not moving, it's not detecting a fault, it's just the jam. 2 of the 3 calls, I want to say, my guys found trash trapped down at the exit, caught up in the sprocket, and then it jams everything up. So I would highly recommend that we start cleaning these out more often. The other thing with cleaning it out, don't wash everything down into your conveyor pit because big things will get stuck in your chain, little things will clog up your reclaim really fast. Like your house in here, but the idea is to keep it above freezing.
And even with the, and also to it, that's a straight 50 degrees, or is there, like for example, when it gets to 0 or 10 below, just keep it at 50?
At 50 it'll maintain. I know there's some places that like to keep it just above freezing, but then on those days, like you're saying, where it's below 0, you're kind of fighting it where it probably, if you're busy enough, it'll drop below freezing and you'll start having issues. There's one main thermostat down there, but on pretty much all the other ones, there's a thermostat for, is it 2 or you have 4? Yeah, each one has its own little thermostat.
So that's for they can type in and adjust the temperature.
50.
They can adjust it if it gets controlled really well.
Yeah, it's just a little knob. It's got numbers and everything.
All the car washes have them.
Set them up to keep the car wash safe.
Ideally, you would probably want to put them more closer to the entrance and exit, and then the heat should relatively circulate
towards the inside.
Towards the insides. If they do go out, I would highly recommend, especially if we're in freezing or below, not even running the wash. So.
Okay.
Because those little propane heaters won't keep up with the cold air blowing through. Be a real shocker if you lost all 4 of your heaters either way, but one of them should still be able to maintain the wash.
Okay.
So if you do lose one temporarily, I wouldn't try and run all winter with just one, but if one does go down, it should still be able to maintain the wash.
So if someone is here and they trip something, but you want to give another wash.
But they're already in the wash?
Yeah.
Alright. You would come over to the screen over here. There's a big old button that says Q. You'd push that button, it'll bring up another menu, and then you have to hit more Q. The password to get in this is 4444.
different code for different locations, right?
Yes.
No.
Or it's the same code?
This one, in this, it's all 4444 on everybody that has the Bellinger tunnel. And then to choose whatever package you're gonna give them, there's a line that says enter package here. You touch the square with the numbers in it and enter 1 through 4. Most places that I set up, number 1 is your top wash, number 4 is your cheap wash. And then after you hit the enter, the number you just hit enter, the wash will start. If the car's already in here, you'll have to step on the treadle twice. The conveyor will start, but the dolly won't come up until that thing's been activated twice. Once the roller hits just about to the photo eye or at the photo eye, it'll automatically send another roller. But if it doesn't, you can come to this screen, go to queue again, and on the middle screen there's a button that says hot dolly. If you hit that, it'll call a roller up. There's another thing, never walk on the conveyor when it's running. Because if your foot gets stuck in there, it's not stopping. If it can move a car, it's not going to stop for your foot.
Never walk on it, whether it's on or not.
Not that, don't want that.
And this doesn't turn off, and you can't activate the wash for some reason. If you go into the button that says user, at the very top there's a button that says clear wash. If you hit that, it'll say, are you sure?
Yeah.
And you say yes. Or you have to hit clear queue. Clear wash is when there's a car that was already in the wash. I'm sorry. Clear queue will clear out any washes that were waiting to be activated. Clear wash is so if the car's going through and something happens and that wash is still stuck in the middle of your car wash, if you hit clear wash, it'll cut the cycle off short.
If it cuts it off, will the car be able to exit at that point?
Chances are, if there's something that either causes it to fault out, everything's going to shut down. Or if you have to hit the E-stop for some reason, everything will shut down. All the arms will open, so they'll be out of your way. There's nothing that will move the curtains out of your way, but then they should be able to pull out. Let's say a car was going through and God forbid your chain snapped, then I would end up, it would more likely be me that's clearing the wash because I'm out here to fix your chain anyways and start it all over again. But I can't think of too many instances that you guys would actually really necessarily need to clear the wash. Clear the queue is more likely what you guys would need to be worrying about. Which is all under the queue button. I don't know what's up.
Let's say someone...
If you ever get a car that jumps either the inside or the outside of the conveyor track because they're holding their wheel or not paying attention like people do, that ramp is designed so usually it's your front tire that'll fall out. The idea is you put the ramp right next to the rail and then the car will drive up the ramp and then they can turn back into the conveyor. Because typically the yellow plastic, some of you guys have orange, the yellow plastic is supposed to be slippery to tires. So especially in a car, they're not going to be able to get back in there without that ramp. That I know that we take care of, I'll get monthly PMs where we come out and we change the pre-filter on your spot free and we clean out the basket on your reclaim. That's actually supposed to be done weekly. We do it, we're only out every month. We would recommend that you guys actually do take out that basket, clean it out every week, because if it, yes?
Does everybody know how to do that?
We'll go over it. I'm just bringing it up on while we're here, because if that gets clogged and it shuts down, If your freshwater bypass doesn't kick in, none of the cloth is going to get any water on it. Then you'll start scratching cars. Well, shouldn't scratch them, but the cloth likes to grab items more when it's dry than when it's wet and lubricated. Like you'll get more antennas, license plates, and sometimes even mirrors. So we always want to make sure that it's working and clean. They tell us to do it every week, so that's from Pure Blue. Yeah.
You tell us when we need to do it.
Any other questions? That I know that we take care of. I'll get monthly PMs where we come out and we change the pre-filter on your spot free, and we clean out the basket on your reclaim. That's actually supposed to be done weekly. We do it, we're only out every month. We would recommend that you guys actually do take out that basket, clean it out every week, because if it, yes?
Does everybody know how to do that?
We'll go over it. I'm just bringing it up on while we're here. Because if that gets clogged and it shuts down, if your freshwater bypass doesn't kick in, none of the cloth is going to get any water on it. Then you'll start scratching cars. Well, shouldn't scratch them, but the cloth likes to grab items more when it's dry than when it's wet and lubricated. Like you'll get more antennas, license plates, and sometimes even mirrors. So we always want to make sure that it's working and clean. They tell us to do it every week, so that's from Pure Blue. Yeah.
You tell us when we need to do it.
Any other questions? When you're going to take it out and clean it, you're going to hit the off button, which will stop it from running. And you get to open this thing. This one's nice, it came off. Sometimes it creates like a vacuum and it sucks it down, so you gotta kind of pop it off. Alright, here's the fun part.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's essentially acting as a button. Just drop it in there.
Tie it back up.
Put it back on.
Put the screws in there. Bing, bam. Bada boom, bada bing. Done.
Yeah, just know.
Alright, when you first put this together, kind of hand tighten the back tube, and then just slightly get these where they're touching. Yeah, so what we're gonna then do is hit auto, and it'll ask you if you need to prime it. You hit F4, which will say yes, and it'll start filling up with water. These pumps aren't self-priming, so the lines have to be full of water before they'll actually work.
The water is full up already?
That's why we leave the front two screws loose.
Oh, because you have to
you
check.
gotta wait for the water to come out.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's coming out.
And now it starts back up.
Okay.
If you ever have any real bad air leak, all the washes all have a manifold that usually looks like that. that is always gonna, if it's these colored hoses, or usually the small clear ones, that's all air. The valves will shut it off. So if say we can't get out here till later in the day, or what, so your compressor doesn't sit there and run and run and run and overheat. Pretty much every piece should have its own ball valve. So if you need to kill the air supply to whatever, say a hose blows out or the hose cracks or anything like that, that would help save the compressor from running until we can get out.
It looks like some are open and some are closed right now, right?
The ones that aren't even hooked up.
Oh, okay.
Some of them aren't.
Yeah, this was like partial of this place.
Yeah, some of them may just be not open all the way to help incoming air. And it seems like the wash stays on almost a really long, it only will stay on for so long, but it seems to be staying on a lot longer than the car that was going through it. The eyes right here, if they get dirty and the car can't see or can't see each other, they'll think a car's in front of us, they'll just keep running and running and running. To clean them, if you just take a semi-moist soft towel, you don't want to scratch them, you just wipe them off. They will get a little dirty, but once again, during our monthly PMs, we generally will address that too. So.
Hey, Brad, the hose, is there any, should the hose be out or can it be put away? Should it be put away unless you're using it?
It would, I would either, if you don't have a nice little hose reel or anything like that, it'd probably be safer
That's what I'm thinking.
to not be laying all over the
From a
place.
safety standpoint, it should be wrapped because anything like
At your entrance and your exit and right before the dryers, there's 3 sets of eyes that look just like this that are actually for the doors. As Erica just brought up, was it last year, right? We were getting a lot where the doors weren't closing on them. It's the same type of thing. If these eyes get dirty, they'll think a car's there and they'll never let the doors close. Especially the exit. Those 2 down there will get relatively dirty. Those up front are relatively always fine because they're nowhere near water. But those down there are in the mix of everything, especially with the blowers going and all the rings and stuff like that down there. So it's always, if you ever see that, quick check before you call us out saying your door's not working, is make sure those eyes are clear too.
Because that would be a nuisance call if.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it.
Two, if it happens to find its way down in your conveyor will grab it and...
Yeah.
Another thing that's over there by the brushes, that you step in on loose, you can actually tighten up the brush back.
It would definitely grab you and throw you.
Yeah.
That's another thing that won't stop if you're in its way.
So, yeah. If it grabs.
Yeah.
So that's very dangerous.
Runs fairly well. When you take or remove your money, you got to be mindful, make sure, depending on which one you guys have, there are 2 different versions of it. Some of you have the ones with the plastic boxes, and some of you have the ones with the metal boxes. The plastic boxes are, you gotta make sure it's closed all the way. When you put your money in, those little tabs, you gotta make sure you pull them up. Otherwise, that'll cause it to mess up. It's highly, highly important that when you guys talk to Brinks, ask for ATM quality bills.
Yeah.
Because you start putting in old, used, crusty bills, you're gonna start getting jams like there's no tomorrow.
Number Claudia? Jam. Yeah.
So, yeah, I know when Unitech tells us to tell you guys, when I call them and tell them I gotta keep getting jams, that you guys should be telling your money people that you need ATM quality singles, and if you actually do use your fives as well. And then when the metal ones, I've seen have more of a pain in the neck about closing the lid than the plastic ones. The plastic ones seem to close a little bit easier. But if those metal ones, if you're not getting closed 100% and you're shoving them in there, it has a tendency to mess with the connections in the back, and you'll start getting crazy faults. Like here actually, the enter button would blank out, or it would always immediately tell you exact change only. Usually if you start seeing that, you're either out of bills or there's a jam. It doesn't come out and tell you there's a jam unless you sign into it. And even then, once you sign in, it'll just say bill dispenser offline. But yeah, so making sure the lids are closed all the way, make sure they're pushed in all the way. The plastic cassettes, is what they're called. Those actually have a locking mechanism on them.
Yeah.
So if you don't hit the unlock and they're not coming out, don't try and force them out because chances are you'll break something. The metal ones, if there's no locking mechanism on them, but if they're not coming out, that means they're jammed in there, and chances are they were put in with the lid not 100% closed. Yeah, that's the ramp.
This is the ramp that we should have in all car washes if you're trying to help someone get out of it.
Just for your own reference, it runs at a slower speed, so it's constantly cycling water. That will help with the smell that naturally occurs with reclaimed water. And then when a car wash is activated, this thing actually ramps up from 20 psi to should be anywhere between 40 to 60 psi. Other than that, if you ever do have a situation where this stops working and you do need to get to, so it'll run on fresh water so you guys don't have to shut down because this isn't working. Once it faults out, it'll shut all down by itself. If you go to F1, which says hand on it, that's essentially hand means your freshwater bypass will kick on. So now, if we were to send a wash, even though this isn't off, now we got a 2-inch freshwater line coming in. It'll send fresh water onto your cloth. So at least you don't have to shut down if something, either the pump fails or part of the pit's being cleaned. There's 2 check valves down there, and if the mud gets high enough, it'll cover the check valves, which will cause you to lose suction. If something big, how like where I said don't put anything down in your pit, if something big gets stuck in there and that check valve can't close and for some reason it shuts down, it'll never let you prime it back up because the water, when you kick on the water to prime it up, it'll just keep flowing back down into your pit. So if that ever happens where this can't be running, you come hit F1, it'll say hand mode. Just for your own reference, it runs at a slower speed, so it's constantly cycling water. That will help with the smell that naturally occurs with reclaimed water. And then when a car wash is activated, this thing actually ramps up from 20 psi to should be anywhere between 40 to 60 psi. Other than that, if you ever do have a situation where this stops working and you do need to get to, so it'll run on fresh water so you guys don't have to shut down because this isn't working. Once it faults out, it'll shut all down by itself. If you go to F1, which says hand on it, that's essentially hand means your freshwater bypass will kick on. So now, if we were to send a wash, even though this isn't off, now we got a 2-inch freshwater line coming in. It'll send fresh water onto your cloth. So at least you don't have to shut down if something, either the pump fails or part of the pit's being cleaned. There's 2 check valves down there, and if the mud gets high enough, it'll cover the check valves, which will cause you to lose suction. If something big, how like where I said don't put anything down in your pit, if something big gets stuck in there and that check valve can't close and for some reason it shuts down, it'll never let you prime it back up because the water, when you kick on the water to prime it up, it'll just keep flowing back down into your pit. So if that ever happens where this can't be running, you come hit F1, it'll say hand mode, wash activation off, which is saying it's not getting a signal from the car wash to be on right now. Bypass mode on, yeah, wash activation on. So if you ever need to, so you don't have to shut your wash down if it stops working. That's how you activate it. Like I said, some of them had a thing where, but this one, for some reason, even though it's the more sophisticated one, doesn't change automatically for you.
So it's
Is
good.
there any part of the wash that's fresh water all the time?
Every one of your arches are all fresh water. The only thing that gets reclaimed is cloth. Chances are there's a problem with the check valve. Then I would just throw it in hand mode or freshwater bypass, and then you'd have to give us a call. And we'll have to come out and find out if it's the check valve or what's going on with it, so on and so forth. They'll tell you every week that it needs to be cleaned. Now it's not like it detects a sensor that you're clogged up, it's just time. It's purely time. It's like, I've been running a week, it's time to change it. Clean me out. Not all of you have water softeners, but those who do have it, make sure they're full of salt. I haven't done it since I've last told everybody pretty much, but there was one, when we first opened this store, we didn't have salt here for a while. Now I've been seeing it's been full the last time I checked it, but I also haven't been here in a while. Is it empty? Oh. Well, there I go, jinxing it. You can do anything else in your building, it just softens the water for the spot for it. If you could also help save yourself, there's a sight glass on these compressors. Not all of you have sight glass in here, always make sure it's full of oil. Which, it's usually a round glass and then there's circles. As long as it's halfway up, you're good. If you look in there and see that it looks like it's full of milk and not oil, that's the problem. It means water's getting in there, so the oil needs to be changed. So if you see that before we come back out for a PM, you let us know. We'll want to change it out. Essentially, this thing's semi-self-drain, auto drains. That's what this whole thing contraption is. But you'll open it up. Obviously, no more water's in there now. But otherwise, we don't want to run it out of oil. Then it'll
What kind of oil?
compressor oil.
Compressor oil.
Yeah.
So when they clean that, they should really bleed this.
Yeah, I would believe that as well. Some of you have the electronic auto drain, which when you, it's almost as annoying as that thing going off. You'll be down there and all of a sudden you just hear really loud, it scares the hell out of you, it's real fun. But almost all the newer ones have this setup where it's like a built-in auto drain. So you shouldn't have too much water really in there, especially we're kind of far away from most of the moisture. If you shut this down, it'll stop the water, and unless it's the hose that supplies it, should stop water from spraying everywhere. It'll stop the pump and it'll close the valve. But still, that would be a service call, but it would be helpful on your part so we're not spraying water everywhere and getting other stuff like that. Right here on the side. Little black square. And this system is
Yeah, when the water comes out, it comes out of there.
Yes. I was gonna say, I've gotten a couple calls on that one too. That is not always a bad thing.
Oh, okay.
As this thing makes water, it also constantly flushes out those filters.
Okay.
That's what that water is. It's your waste, well they call it wastewater. But yeah, what it's doing is it's rinsing away a lot of the stuff that those filters are filtering out to prolong the life of the filter. Essentially over time, become like rock hard and then they split out. And it's always right by the fitting. It's never in the middle of the hose or anything like that. It's always by the fitting. So if you ever have it where water's shooting out from these areas, either top or bottom, atypically I always see it's at the top. If you shut down the switch, it'll stop it from spraying everywhere. It shuts down water supply.
Reverse, the filters for the reverse osmosis system, how often do you change it or get replaced?
These? It's variable. Essentially, when we start seeing the water isn't working as well, we'll try an acid flush, and if it's still not working well, then we know these are pretty much shot.
That's part of your,
Yeah. Just like the filter right there, that only needs to be changed monthly, that's part of our PM.
Okay, so we don't touch none of that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.